What is up, my WAP movie realists? Once again, we are back with one of those special Geoff reviews, and we are here to talk about Sinners, what honestly was my number 2 most anticipated film of the year. I will be seeing it in just a few hours at the time of this being released. Geoff has already seen it, and we are here to talk about it. He's had a couple days to marinate, which normally he doesn't, so I'm very curious.
Yeah,
But Geoff, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing so good. I got to see a new Ryan Coogler film.
I saw your tweet after you got out of it, and it was the most film lover tweet.
Film bro douchebaggy, like, oh, we're
Not
so
douchebaggy,
good,
not
man.
douchebaggy, but uh,
We should be so lucky. That sort of tone. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's just exactly. We should be so lucky, and I was like, damn, Geoff just made me feel something.
Look, man, I'm a big fan of Ryan Coogler, as many people are. Fruitvale Station is a great debut. And then Creed, of course, is a knockout. Um,
Yeah, punny.
Yeah, and then Black Panther, the first one, is arguably to me the best MCU film. Um, Richly deserving of all of the
Great.
accolades that it's gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Ludwig Göransson's score and Ruthie Carter's costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just talking about that on the craft side, and then Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I'm not big on trying to discuss, oh, well, this outside stuff happened that affected why the movie is this way. Oh, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen isn't that bad. They had to deal with the strikes that were going on. So I don't care about that stuff. I just want to know if the movie's good. How's the product and at the end result? And you know what? Wakanda Forever, still great. Still,
Mm-hmm.
and then you hear about exactly what happened, and you're like, "Oh my god!" They had to pick up the pieces and figure out something from there. And I think they did an incredible job just from that perspective. The movie itself, I really like that as well. Some more incredibly diverse, interesting ideas and perspectives that he was able to bring to that project. And in the lead up to this film, it was always interesting. Once again, I just care about is the movie that I'm going to watch. At the end of the day, if I could be hyped about anything, it doesn't matter. I just want the movie to be good. But some of the stuff that really hyped me up was I think all of his movies are so good.
Yeah.
And then I get to hear him say, and I didn't really think about it until then. I just thought, oh, Sinners, finally. He's like not just in the corporate machine of Marvel or whatever, that general kind of stereotype thought. And he said that this is really his first film that that's completely
The
himself.
original. Yep.
And I never really thought about that because I thought, well, Fruitvale Station's not adapted from like another book or whatever. It's just the telling a true story. I'm like, yeah, that's not his story. You're right. He's telling someone else's story. Creed,
Mm-hmm.
you're right. I mean, a lot of that is kind of original stuff that he's bringing to the table, but at its core, it's an
It's a
extension
spinoff.
of a story
Yeah.
that's not his. Black Panther and Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, those aren't his. Those are him playing within an IP sandbox and
Mm-hmm.
really standing out more than most tend to.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is his first one that's totally him. And it's really interesting for him to say that because this movie is like a mishmash of a bunch of different things. It sounds like it could be a mess, like, oh, it's a gangster movie a bit, and it's also like, a story
Oh,
of like down south and segregation and racism in the time in the 1930s. And it's also a deep, achingly the aching, like full of feeling, telling of the blues and how that connects culturally through the ages and all of these interesting ideas of trying to bring all sorts of superstitions maybe and ideas that might have come from Africa and from these other areas, and how it all plays into now and how it affects the past and the future and all this stuff. And that sounds crazy, right? Oh, it's also a vampire,
yeah.
right? And it sounds like that could be a mess. And this is a movie that I think he walks a tightrope so delicately. He's able to make all of this sort of just kind of like through this single like thing, he's able to kind of push it all through to make this wildly entertaining picture that feels like as big as it is intimate. When I say big as it is intimate, I mean like this movie takes place over the course of one day.
What?
The vast majority of the film takes place over the course of one day, and it's a story of. I'm just going to get into a brief, like description of what the plot is. We know it's a vampire thing because it's literally the selling point of it. It'd be really fun if it wasn't in the trailers telling you different stuff that happens, but whatever. The movie's still going to stand on its own at the end of the day. So marketing's marketing. It's about these twin brothers named Smoke and Stack. They're the Smokestack twins.
Yeah, I love those names.
Yeah, they're from, I believe it's Georgia, and they went off years ago and were working under Al Capone. And they come back home and they decide that they're going to open up the first juke joint in town using
Okay.
money that they had gotten from their time in Chicago. And they're gathering all these different people that knew them in the past to come, and they're paying in order to get the property and everything set up, and all of the goods and stuff that they brought with them from Chicago to try to like make their name as like something there back at home. And something happens there where it just happens to become a story of them at this location, at this place on their opening night of their juke joint, where they have to fight a bunch of vampires. It's kind of difficult to tell, but it's that sounds almost like rudimentary in a way. It's like, oh, all these people just come together to go to a club, and then halfway through, suddenly it becomes a vampire story, and they all have to survive. That's from dusk till dawn. This is in a lot of ways, it's very similar to that in its structure there, where the first half is just something else, and then it becomes a vampire movie all of a sudden. But I think it's way deeper than that, and it really plays with a lot of when I talked about the idea of like music, connecting culturally with past and future. There's ways that this movie deals with that idea of ancestors and descendants are all together. Um, that is really fascinating how it does it both through dialogue as well as there are some really interesting visual choices that are made, things that they decide to do for the sake of evoking in a show don't tell kind of way that I really love. Um, music is really, really like at the heart of this movie.
I've heard it's essentially its own character.
It's basically it's the oh, New York is like a character in the story of this. Exactly. The music is its own character. And suffice it to say, Ludwig Göransson himself doing some great work, Ludwig Göransson of Childish Gambino fame and
Listen, that man is
two-time
already.
Oscar nominee
I was about
or
to say
winner.
he has just in his early career he may have a legit claim to being called the GOAT. Let's be honest here.
Like I was so glad that like when I learned he was making movie excuse me, scores, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm already a fan of him because of his work with Childish Gambino." So that was cool to be like on like the ground, like not the ground floor, but like earlier on with that in a hipstery way.
Right.
I blast his music like was it Rainy Night in Tehran, I think is the name of the first track of the Tenet soundtrack. If you're ever rocketing down like a long road and it's pouring rain out and you blast that, oh my god, your heart rate's gonna be going 160 beats a minute. He's great. The cast is expectedly fantastic too.
Okay.
We have Michael B. Jordan, of course, who has shown that he has one of the most enriching creative partnerships for writer actor pairing working today. Michael B. Jordan is to Ryan Coogler as like
Leo,
Robert De Niro or
yeah,
Leo are to
Scorsese,
Scorsese. Exactly. That's like I'm obviously this is only 5 movies in too, so
but
but
he's been in
still,
every single film.
but he's been in all 5 of them, and they've all been great. Um, and he's also able to. They're twins, but he's able to infuse different personalities to each of them, and I'm glad that they were able to, of course, dress them just differently enough that you're able to tell who they are.
Well, did you see the interview with Jimmy Kimmel that broke down?
No, I didn't see that. I
So
haven't seen any behind the
just
scenes
just
or
the
interviews.
technology that they use to actually capture his performance. Like they were talking about this new technology that they developed where they had to keep the something like second pass or something, and like the camera stayed in place. He didn't go full into detail, but he talked about how camera had to stay in place, otherwise the entirety of the shot could end
Yeah.
up totally ruined. And they had this contraption that Michael B. Jordan had to wear that they called it the halo, and it would catch every. He'd give a performance in it, so it would catch all of his digital markers on. Like he wasn't wearing markers, but they
Right.
were cameras, and this way they can catch all of his facial movements and whatnot. And that way they can transpose it on if there's a double or something. It's crazy everything that they're doing. I'll send that to you after, but it just
Nice.
made me
Yeah, because
appreciate
it's
what
pretty
Coogler is doing even
seamless.
more.
The work is pretty seamless. Um, and Smoke, he's the more business oriented, I guess. And Stack is a little bit more of the fun, looser kind of guy. But they also both are like very much intimidating men, and he's able to make them just different enough to stand out. And he's really great as both of them. And Smoke, he come when he comes home, he gets to see Wunmi Mosaku from Loki and
See,
other projects
I
that I
still
can't
think of her
remember.
from Lovecraft Country.
I never saw Lovecraft Country, so she's in Deadpool and Wolverine too. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Luke, I like Loki. Um, Yeah, and and also that's right. She's also in His House, which is a really good horror film that was on Netflix. She's very good here. And then we have, of course, the love interest of she's the love interest of sorts for Smoke. The love interest for Stack is Haley Steinfeld.
Who, funny enough, we learned through this film she's actually black, folks. Shocked the shit out of me.
Yeah, when she said they do actually have it a line in there,
Yeah,
and
where
I
she's
didn't
playing
know.
a mixed character.
Yes, she said I think
Her
her dad was a
her
quarter black or something in the movie is what
her
she said.
yeah. In real life,
Her
her
grandfather was a
grandfather
quarter
is
black or
quarter black.
something. Yeah.
Her grandfather was black or half black,
Yeah,
something like
that's what she said something to that effect in the movie as well. And I'm like, oh, I'm guessing that means Haley is too when when
that.
she said that.
I saw the deadline interview they did with her, and I was like, "What? Excuse me?"
Yeah, so there you go. Cool. And she's great. She's super charming, and not going to go into too much detail as to her story. The marketing kind of gives some of that stuff away. It's really entertaining, and really fun. Uh, we have, of course, Jack O'Connell too. I don't want to keep listing just actor by actor. Jack O'Connell is a really fun, intimidating lead vampire. The vampires are, of course, in this telling, they are attracted to the area because of the power of music, how music really can connect so much. There, so many things are attracted, both good and evil, in this world. Um, and he's attracted to the music of the Smoke and Stack's young cousin, a newcomer named Miles
Miles
Catton.
Canton.
Miles Canton. He plays Sammy Moore, aka Preacher Boy. He's given the nickname because his father is a pastor, and he just wants to play music. He wants to play music so badly. And the thing is, he's really good.
So same Jimmy Kimmel interview, right? They revealed that Miles learned how to play the guitar just for the show.
He's so good. He's so good. Like from an acting thing, as a newer actor, he's fantastic. Coogler was able to get a great performance out of him. Musically speaking, he's got a great voice. I think that if you hear the trailer and you hear that deep voice singing, that's
That's
him.
him.
That's him. He's got a deep voice when he speaks. And on the guitar he looked great too. He has great chemistry with Jamie Lawson, who plays a young woman named Pearline, who comes to the Juke Joints opening night. And then of course, I'm gonna stop listing every single actor, but Delroy Lindo, the great Delroy Lindo. um, he's always a delight. He's a bit of the comic relief character, but also brings a lot of that gravitas that the older boozy man who's seen a lot worse than the current generation has seen. He brings a lot of that to this, and he's Delroy Lindo. It's really hard not to just say, "Oh, he's great." Um, uh, Last thing I'll say about like the craft, I think that the cinematography from Autumn Durald Arkapaw, I believe she's the one that shot Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. She was. And he once again is able to bring such like a rich blend of colors and the way the lighting hits people that a lot of movies don't really do nowadays. Yeah, I could just go on about like, oh, I like this, oh, I like this, oh, I like this, but I think it's a really fun, energetic movie that just really kind of rocks your socks off, for pun intended here, with the kind of music that's playing there, and it's just entertaining. It's super deep, and like it feels really, richly rewarding on a cultural level of what he's trying to convey, but just like on a popcorn level, it's super fun to watch.
So the people calling it like an Avengers level type film, what do you say to things like that?
I think that's a really weird thing to say. What does
They
that mean?
like the spectacle of it.
I don't know about that. That sounds a little funky. This is not that kind of spectacle.
No, just spectacle in general. Like that's what
It
people have
does have some
described
spectacle, but like I think it's smaller scope,
it.
physically speaking. Um, might not like lend itself to that kind of comparison.
Fair enough. That's why I asked.
Yeah. But I think that the actual, the violence itself is really fun to watch. There's a lot of, exciting, terrifying action that happens in it. There's a couple moments where I'm, a little bit in the pacing, maybe in the middle, I could feel it drag a touch here or there. There's one really important thing that happens, and there's a single moment where I'm like, wait a minute, where did that person come from? They were over here. The time it would take for them to be over there makes no sense at all. How did that happen? Just one of like that happened to me once in the movie. But everything else was so good, and what mattered more was, I guess, like the emotion of the moment, that I was able to, I guess, forgive it, because a lot of movies, they need you to suspend your disbelief because they want you to connect with them emotionally more than logically. So
Fair
I was
enough.
on board with that, so it didn't ma it wasn't like, a big deal to me there.
Fair enough. So if you're rating this film, Jeff, what are you giving it?
Well, I just kept ranting and rambling about how much I like that movie, so I'm gonna say 4.5 out of 5. Uh, Earlier this year, I saw Mickey 17, and that was another really unique Warner Brothers film, and at the time that I saw it, it became my favorite movie of the year. I didn't get a chance to talk about the review here for Black Bag, but I saw that, and then that became my favorite movie of the year. But going from Mickey 17 to Sinners shows that Warner Brothers, for all of the interesting things that have been in the news about how the company is kind of running itself creatively lately, and what people could say about that. It's fascinating that they're taking all of this money and giving them to these filmmakers to make these really interesting, unique, idiosyncratic projects. And
So,
it's like, yeah, I'm mad that they're doing all this other stuff, but they also just gave Ryan Coogler $100 million to make a down south gangsters 1930 vampire epic that with blues music.
sounds like something out of or out of the studio, doesn't
Ah, yeah.
it? Which you can go watch our full season review on the studio on
Like
this
Kool-Aid.
channel. Kool-Aid. Ooh, like literally, what I'm just seeing from Warner
Like I
Brothers
said, we got
in the news.
Matchbox coming.
Yeah.
Matchbox is coming soon, starring John Cena.
But yeah, like, yeah, real quick, if you tune into this review, thank you guys for tuning in. It is Thursday, April 17th, at the time of this being released. So tonight you can check
Better
out
be.
Millennial Geek Trivia featuring Pixie Boot, featured films, Kayla Marie T, The Swaggy Blurred, Amaru, and Mitch Spinell movies over here on our YouTube channel live and our Twitch. And it's hosted by myself and Taylor Cleek. Not the Rager, Taylor Cleek. His name is Taylor Cleek. He is not the Rager, folks. So you can come check that out. Watt Gaming, our sister channel run by Taylor Cleek, where all of our Twitch streams go to live after the fact. Go check that out and just be on the lookout for all the various podcasts and whatnot we do here. I know HB Hose is going to be like an every other week type deal. That's kind of what's been discussed. Just because of how
Schedules,
things are lining up.
availability, the calendar.
The calendar. Yep, that's essentially why. So yeah. But with that, folks, signing off. I'm Matt. That is the impeccable Geoff Alterman, and we will see you next time. Peace.